Have you ever opened up a gadget and just stared, wondering what's actually going on inside your phone or your computer? Well, it might seem like magic, but it's really just a kind of secret language. And today, we're going to crack the code.
Okay, just look at this. All these little bits and pieces. These are the building blocks inside literally every piece of tech we use. And yeah, they look complicated, kind of intimidating, right? But what if I told you there's a surprisingly simple way to get what they all do? And this is the key. What if all this electronic complexity could be understood with just one simple idea? What if all these components were just, fancy versions of pipes and faucets and water tanks? That is exactly the mental model we are going to use today. We're going to completely reimagine electricity as a plumbing system. It's an incredibly powerful and honestly pretty intuitive way to finally make sense of how all our favorite gadgets really work. So, let's lay the groundwork. Think about a big water tank. The more water it holds, the more pressure you get at the bottom, right? Well, in electronics, a battery does the exact same job. It's our source of electrical pressure.
And that brings us to the two most fundamental ideas in all of electronics. First, you've got voltage. That's the pressure in our system. It's the push that makes everything go. And then you've got current, which is the actual flow of water, or in our case, electrons. So more pressure, more voltage creates more flow or more current. Simple, right?
Okay, so we've got this pressure and flow. The next logical question has to be, how do we control it? And that's where our very first component comes in, the resistor.
And check this out. This visual just nails the concept. A resistor is basically like a faucet or maybe a really narrow section in a pipe. It's designed to restrict the flow of current. The one on the left there, that's a variable resistor, which is just like the tap in the picture. You can literally turn a dial to control exactly how much current gets through.
The source material puts it perfectly. It's electrical friction. Just think about it. A pipe with really rough walls makes it harder to push water through, right? A resistor does the same thing to electrons. And this control, it is absolutely essential for making sure more delicate components don't get blasted with too much current all at once. Now here's something really cool. How do you know how much friction a resistor has? Well, it's a color code. Those little colored bands aren't just for decoration, they're a language. The first two bands give you the first two numbers, the third tells you how many zeros to tack on the end, and the fourth tells you how precise that value is.
And here it is, the full decoder ring. Now, it might look like a lot to memorize, but with a chart like this, you can pick up any standard resistor and know its exact value, just like that. It's a beautifully simple system for a super important part. All right, so we can control the flow. That's a great start. But what if we want to, store it for a little bit? For that, we need our next component, the capacitor. This analogy is just fantastic. Imagine a water pipe that's blocked right in the middle by a flexible rubber sheet. If you push water in from one side, that rubber diaphragm stretches, right? It stores the pressure. Now, water can't actually get through it, but the energy is definitely stored in that stretched rubber. A capacitor does the exact same thing, but with electrical pressure, with voltage. And here's the really clever part. Sure, it stores energy, but think about that rubber sheet again. If you push water in just one direction, that's like direct current, or DC. It just stretches, and then stops the flow cold. But what if you rapidly push and pull the water back and forth? That's like alternating current, or AC. The diaphragm just wiggles back and forth with it, effectively letting the energy pass right on through. Now let's meet another component that plays with energy, but in a totally opposite way. This is an inductor. It's usually just a coil of wire. To get it, imagine trying to push water through a really, really long and heavy coiled fire hose. When you first turn on the tap, it takes a while for the water to even start moving at the other end because of all its weight and inertia. The inductor is just like that. It has electrical momentum, and it hates any sudden changes in the flow of current. So, what happens when you put these two side by side? Well, this is where it gets really cool. They are perfect opposites. The source material even calls them dual components. A capacitor blocks DC but passes AC. The inductor, it does the exact reverse, passes DC without a problem but blocks AC. They're like the yin and yang of an electronic circuit. Okay, so we can restrict flow, we can store it, and we can even fight changes to it. But how do we make our circuits, smart? Well, that's the job of semiconductors. Think of them as the intelligent valves in our whole plumbing system. Let's start with the simplest one, the diode. Its plumbing buddy is a one-way check valve. Water can flow forward, no problem. But if it tries to flow backward, the valve slams shut. A diode does exactly that for electricity. It's an essential electronic gatekeeper. And here it is, the absolute heart of all modern electronics, the transistor. Think of it as a valve, but a special one that's controlled by a tiny little lever. A very small push on that lever, a tiny electrical current, can open a gate that lets a much, much larger flow of water or current rush through. It's both an amplifier and a switch, all packed into one microscopic package.
So a transistor is one tiny little valve. Now I want you to just think about this number. Over 1 million. What in the world could that possibly represent?
Well, what it means is taking that entire plumbing system we've been talking about, the valves, the pipes, the tanks, and shrinking it down millions, or these days even billions of times, and etching it all onto a tiny piece of silicon. That is an integrated circuit, and it's the engine inside every smart device you own. So we've met all the individual players. We know what their jobs are. But how do they go from being a pile of parts to a working gadget? Let's see how it all gets put together.
What you're seeing here is the whole process. On the bottom, that's the schematic diagram. Think of it as the blueprint, the abstract drawing of how all the plumbing is supposed to connect. And on top, that's the printed circuit board, or PCB. That's the real world, with physical copper pipes connecting all the actual parts. It's the moment an idea becomes reality. So let's do a super quick recap of the secret language we've learned. Resistors are the faucets controlling the flow. Capacitors are the storage tanks holding a temporary charge. Inductors are like those heavy old water wheels, resisting any sudden changes. And semiconductors, well, they're the smart valves that make the whole system intelligent. And there you have it. We've just decoded the basic language of electronics, all using one simple, powerful idea. So the next time you look at any gadget, you have a new way of seeing it. Not as some magic box, but as an incredibly sophisticated system of microscopic pipes and valves. So I'll leave you with this. Now that you can read the blueprints, what do you see differently?